Guys, I decided to as soon as I sat down, I was trying to get the recorder open, and we have better hands. And I for that hand, we didn't end up 3-betting it pre. So we are going to have to make some call downs here. We have the best hand still. A lot. We'll just call. I mean, if he has a 5 or 4, he owns us. It's a trip 6s that he didn't bet the whole way. I mean, sure. I took suspect at low stakes for people to have some bluffs on the river, and just because they can't win with something like 9 high, and they know that. So a Jack 8 offsuit, even in small stakes here, is not going to be an open for us. Hope everybody's doing good. And thank you for joining me. A little small stakes action. Hopefully we just keep rolling pretty fast and we get into some really nice positions and hands. I recently asked why I play only small stakes online. I don't trust ACR. Unfortunately, it's like one of the few sites I can play on where I live. So I just don't invest much money in it. I mean, I'm not going to put hundreds and hundreds of dollars in here playing, if maybe even 1,000, just to showcase some learning or anything. Flop the second pair with a club here. Pretty decent hand. Going full pot though, we are going to have to continue. We just have too much that we can hit on the run out as well. Our hand improves equity wise with so many turn cards. Not for that sizing though. After he gets called here, there's no reason for us to even be here. Sometimes we're going to hit the river with an 8 or a 9, and we're probably going to be good, but there's just no reason to right here. Let's see if we can get a top up here. Yeah, I know. This guy did it with ace-king all the way down. Of course, the 5-7 makes sense. He overplayed ace-king there. Facing 2 callers, especially on that turn. He should not have barreled that turn. I would have checked that turn. We can look at it again here later. I'm actually going to raise this and kind of squeeze this hand. I like the suited ace for this type of play. Of course, we kind of flop gin here. There's not a lot that they're going to be able to continue with. You're going to have some like 6-8s. Some clubs, but we can't always fear that. What I like to do is I take this strong of a hand, and I'm actually going to check it back. And we're going to hope that he kind of spikes this 10. Or something. I mean, he's going to have... Now he's going to improve some like 8-9. Is going to have... See, now he's leads pretty big. We can raise this hand right away for this sizing. we could just call. And this one I'm just going to call. That's a little bit of an unfortunate river card. Makes it less like he has a 10. He's got more like combo draws and stuff that 10 hits. So 10 bigs going half pot. Just under half pot. We can probably just call. Okay. And see, we got him to, I mean, ace deuce of clubs. That was pretty interesting. I think we actually get raised on the flop with that specific holding, but I think we played it just fine. He was more likely, like, let's say the river rigged out and he checked to us. I mean, he was going to call almost any bet with ace. He's kind of fortunate that he spiked that 10, and I'm fortunate he didn't spike a club. Don't hate me for this. Ace is a really good card for us to barrel. It's cool, man. Your deuce of diamonds is good. You could have made an argument for blasting river there and just try to get him off that chop, but I don't know. It's probably the optimal line once checked too, with when you show up there with the queen high. But maybe you bet enough to get an ace to fold, but small stakes are just not. They're just not folding enough. It's just not a good idea. We got the 9 high battle. Well, Jack 9 high battle. Again, I don't like limps, so I'm just gonna attack these limps. Pretty favorable flop for us. We flop the flush draw and ace king high. Say favorable because even though we don't have a pair, we rep pairs here, and we actually can go bigger because it is an ace king board. This guy, Ranger Man here, limping every hand is gonna get him hurt. You don't want to play no 8-3. Pretty bad hand. How often do we get the 5-7 run out? Clearly not this time. Now that I say that, and the king pops off. So Berkey taking down Blesnik in the heads-up duel. That's pretty cool. I can't say I would have seen that coming. It gives us the opportunity to play like every hand when he just limps everything. We're still ahead of some draws that he does this with. Okay, good bluff here. We block like 2-pair combos. We block the straight. Clubs come in, and now week 6, I might be able to go like something like 26 and see if we can't get a fold out of him. I'm not really going to have a lot of 5-6 that I show up here with, but although I do have 2 clubs and I do have 2-pair combos because I'm full range, right? So small blind versus big blind, limp, call, just to see a flop. So I have my full range of cards. Pretty small bet on the river for him, so I figured we'd just go north of 3x of his bet, and we did, and we get it through. Actually, gotta just open the king 6. We get 3-bet very rarely. When we're 3-bet here, we just fold. There is no call. Just so everybody knows. Ignore my dog. And now we're positive money, which is nice. So for this hand, if it was suited, I would 3-bet him. It's a little bit too loose to 3-bet because we're gonna be 3-betting. Like if you think about all of our suited hands, so if we were gonna 3-bet King 9 there, it means that we're 3-betting King 9, King 10, King Jack, King Queen, and then all of our normal 3-bet hands, obviously. So pocket 8s plus probably. So you gotta balance those a little bit better. Too many people go, they see somebody 3-bet King 9 and they don't know that guy might 3-bet King 9 as a bottom part of his 3-bet range in that specific position a very small fraction of the time, not 100%. So you just gotta watch that. You want to be aggressive in poker, but you want to fold to not get yourself in trouble, because what happens if we both hit a king and they have how many kings dominate at King 8 or King 9? All of them. You're going to set yourself up in really bad positions. You don't want to do that. Now, right, granted, we'd be in position, but if there's a skilled player at the table in the big blind there, and they know that we're 3-betting light, Joe will do this. Joe will watch you, and he'll watch me, and he'll know if I'm being like ultra aggro during a session, and he'll start punishing me for it, and then he'll go for light 4-bets, because he knows that my 3-bet range is just too wide to be doing it at the frequency it's doing it. So those are just some things that you want to keep in mind as you're sitting at the felt. Well, third time in the session, we're going to pick up ace queen. We're going to raise it because it's good enough to raise. And we're going to be in position, so we went a little smaller. And we can just c-bet this entirely. Just 2.5. So this makes it less likely he has a 9, more likely he has something like a draw. I think we check back for pot control. The 10 is bad for us. I mean, it's going to bring into a lot of his draws. But just take showdown. Oh, he got in there with the 7 deuce and gets a little bit owned for it by us. We're not going to play this hand as a... Oh, we're going to pot this fairly... We're going to go 5. Seems like too much. I probably accomplished the same with 4.5, but this guy's calling me every single time. We have nothing going on in this. We had diamonds or something we can just bet. Okay. It's just bad for us. And the limp caller just has so many more hands than we do here. Really hoping to spike it on the river. This did happen where he had second pair and he did call all the way down to make trips, so just see what we got. Okay, he has one. He outpipped us there, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm going to take a flop with the ace-10 suited. It's good enough. I know that this for me is going to just kind of fit squarely, especially because we're on the button. We would do a little bit more calling. I'm okay with just calling with this hand. There's no reason to be bluffing here. We don't have enough to like start bluffing. Turn diamonds. That's nice. So we have 1 over in the diamond draw. We can start building a pot probably. Something that would bet if we just like hit it. The 7 and a check and a check. We also have 7 that we ran into. So maybe we go for it. Try to get the ace queens to fold. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. It's been a good session so far. A lot of action. I enjoy it. And even if you don't completely understand what we're doing with every hand, that's okay. Feel free to reach out. If anybody wants me to go over a hand or a spot or ask me why I did it, I'm happy to go through and explain that. Joe and Castile know that I love to talk about a specific hand and spot. So those are my buddies. Derek as well, my brother, gets after me for it. Again, that's my dog going nuts because he does. He hears people outside and he absolutely cannot handle it. Ace queen, no diamond. Probably just check back. Do I have a gutter? I think we just take showdown or our gutter. The diamond. We don't have very many 1 diamond hands as played. So we just check back. I mean, he's got diamond. He could be trapping a lot. Just the 4. I mean, we would get him to fold the 4. Maybe. I mean, but you gotta, if he's any type of thinking player, he's gonna think about that because he's gonna go, okay, would he bet a 1 diamond hand? Probably the whole way. Would he bet just diamonds on the flop? Yes. I mean, realistically, the only diamond hand I would have in a 3 diamond board that I that I played all the way to the river, it would probably be like a straight flush. King 9 suited is good to defend the to defend here. The big blind. We can do two different things here. We can actually go for the check raise, but we don't really want to when he has stronger kings than I do. Here we turn a gutter with the 9 with the top pair. So it's not really time to fold if he goes for a bet. We're just going to call. We hit trips on the river, but it's really just a bluff catcher. Okay. We're winning the whole way, which is nice. We're going to raise this to 4.5. Oh, it's 7-6 suited. It might seem a little bit too wide. Immediately called by the button is not a good idea for us. Against two opponents, we get called by a lot. We can't really call down on it. I'll probably just check. Abysmal or whatever, that guy in the big blind. I'm not really sure where he's at. I'll bet on my diamonds, and if I had an ace that I checked the flop with, I'm not barreling now with it because diamonds have come in. Unless I had like literally ace king with the king of diamonds, might be something I play this way, and then barrel turn. But yeah, I mean, I give up. I give up this whole hand. Oh, two pair. That's fine. It's good. Good deal. Somehow none of us ran into a diamond. Or like none of us had a diamond. Pretty interesting. That being said, if you trust ACR and you want me to play for you, I will give you that option. You could send me however many chips through ACR and I will play whatever stakes you want to. And you keep it all. If we win big, just tip me or something. But you can keep it all, whatever I invest of your money. We check raise this combo a lot. But for this size that he went for, we can just call with the gut shot and the over. I don't really know what he has here. I've decided we don't have enough hand to go for a raise, so I'm going to fold. I don't want to call him. Not in this specific spot. Yeah, I mean, he's going to show us the ace-10, and that's kind of what we're afraid of. So, because if I hit the ace on the river, am I good? And if diamonds come out, am I ever bluffing it? And you just get caught up, not without a diamond in my hand, you just get caught up in it. So it's going to be a problem. I think I'm going to start raising this guy. Because normally I limp small blind because they like to attack it so often. If this guy's never going to attack it, I think I'm going to exploit by raising when I get small blind versus big blind with him. I don't have enough outs. Pocket tens is a good hand, though. See if we can make some money with it. I don't know what it is about these boards, all one suit like this for me. Technically, it's one that favors us. We are in position, so we can bet something like this, and we get folds out of a lot, like snap folds. He's not snap folding. Makes the call. Took him in on the decision. He checks here a lot. We check back. River deuce doesn't change a lot. We have to decide whether our hand bluff catches or not, depending on the sizing. I think we just take a showdown. I'm going to take a flop with a 10-3. And of course we get a gutter with the backdoor flush draw, we will call. Hit the gutter, and have the flush draw to go with it. Goes huge. That's like the worst card in the deck, probably. Besides the ace of spades. 10 of spades probably is worse. I don't know. This guy's so wild. Does he blow me off the chop here, guys? Does he blow me off the chop? There's too many draws. Does not blow me off the chop. It's an exploitive open. It's a bluff. It's too weak for us to be opening it. We get raised and we fold. King 4 is a fold. It's a very decent hand to defend the big blind. I was contemplating value because the queen, he has all the queen X, but he has so few of them. Yeah, that he's going to take something like showdown value for sevens there. I was thinking about what size I call on the river, and I think that I just call everything. I don't want to play this hand at all, even for that. So just avoid a disastrous situation later on by folding. Kind of like before, and I think that we're doing this probably too much. I would go, if I was sitting here not playing any hands, I would actually squeeze this hand. I'm going to let it go as the bluff. I would squeeze it as the bluff, but it's it's not good enough. We've been doing it a lot, I guess is what I mean. So my image is very wild. This is for Joe. Not standard, but let's do it. We don't need to bet much to fold out most everything. The only one that really, I mean, outside of a 9, we're doing okay. Thanks, Joe. You got to pull the trigger on the river, but it's fine. And the reason that we don't want to play this is it's very rare that we ever were going to hit anything good. We had one big blind though to hit something of note, and really we have no hand here. Finally, a hand where we don't really have to bluff. Like, it's fantastic. It's just all timed out there. Yeah, we'll go to 4. So we go to 4 because it's 3 times the one blind, 3 times plus 1. So 3, we go to 3 normally, but usually I go to 2.5. We have a limper, we add 1. I like to go a little bit bigger because, you know, it's 2.5 normal open, then it would be 3.5 because of this. I'm going to go a little bigger because they're going to call wider. So we would take, without a diamond, we go a little bit bigger, but we're going to go take this sizing probably on the flop. We're not really too scared of him having a 4. So he's just going to fold. It doesn't matter. We got that value pre-flop, though. This is in my experience, this is a kind of a tough hand to play. The ace-10 offsuit. It's pretty when you look at it, but when you think about it in terms of your range, it's a bit middling. When you're talking about 3 bets and you're talking about opens, it's kind of smack in the middle. Obviously for me though, because I'm opening a lot wider from certain positions, a clear cut open for me, but in terms of actual strategy, not the best. We're going to fold this. I'm going to fold there because I think we just like lose a ton of big blinds is playing in between. You can argue and be like, well, sometimes we hit queen deuce. Yeah, I know. And sometimes we hit quad deuces, but the amount of times that we whiff and have to fold or hit queen and lose more, it's a lot, right? So we almost always win a small pot and then lose a big pot when you're playing that way. So we want to avoid it. There's a ton of better hands. I mean, queen nine's a better hand. Ace queen's a better hand. Ace nine's a better. Ace deuce, ace three. I mean, like right now, there's a ton of better hands than or queen deuce. So if you ever ran into two pair too often where it wasn't good, you might think about the range of hands you're playing. As much as I want to see a flop with his hand, I will. This time. Do it once. What do we got to do for a 7? This size kind of makes sense. This is just the power of imposition. I mean, that's all that is. And the reason we choose to do it with something that has like low to middling type of equity with some blockers, like a gutter. When we do something like out of position, go for a small check raise, or in position, we just go for the bet to try to take it down, is because we rarely get blown off our equity by something that's worse. So if I were to bet there and I get check raised by either one of them, I'm getting blown off of very little equity. Whereas if I had something like an open-ender or a flush draw, open-ended flush draw, if I had a pair plus a gutter, things like that, you're probably not going to get blown off equity, which is fine. But you also make it difficult for when you call to turn. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say because I like too many things going on. I guess what I want to say is we want to choose something that's foldable and we don't mind. Because our equity is actually very small compared to the value hands. If we choose something that can make the nuts on a lot of turns and a lot of rivers, it's not good to fold in the very next card when we get raised and we call and then we brick turn and then they barrel and we fold. In the long run of things, we want to get there. So we have to balance that with how often that our bluffs get through and how often we make value. I'm not wording that correctly, but sue me. I'm playing cards and I'm also writing at the same time. So I just do less instructing and just tell you what I would do. Like I've never really. This is a really good call hand too. This is a really good flop for us. Obviously, we hit top pair with some backdoor draws. We would check raise some hands. We're not giving up to this size yet. We may block bet size here. We may block bet. Yeah, I don't mind it. Why did we choose that hand to block bet with? Well, we blocked some value, and the draw got in, or it came in, and we blocked the draw. So if we got there on a draw, we would do the same thing, and when they raised, we would call, and then we choose a hand like this to bet, and then get the fold from the nothing burgers, which we wouldn't have got any value from anyway. I think that it was two in between. A queen more than likely just calls us and doesn't choose to raise. So that's why it makes her a good block bet. It's in my opinion anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then there was stuff. There was reasonings. And this guy I thought was a little more thinking player for a while, and now I seem to feel like he's not, because he's flatted the small blind. And anytime that I see someone just limp in small blind and then donk lead against the preflop aggressor, I think that they're probably not a very good player. But this is interesting because sometimes we can raise. I'm going to let it go. I know I timed out, but I think I'm going to let it go. I wasn't sure how I would have played the rest of the streets, to be honest. This is not a standard open, and if we get 3-bet, we'll fold it. We did have top pair. Out of position, I actually don't mind check here. We do have the backdoor spades. We get check back. We almost never are against a jack. We can be against an ace, though it's unlikely. Because we turned an ace. Or there was a turned ace. Now it's really unlikely. I think we check call a lot. Check, try to get something out of it. If we have an ace, I mean, we would go for value. That's 10. I'm trying to think if we care. I'm gonna let it go. Having spades is bad when you're talking about that specific call. A lot of what his bluffs are going to contain when it goes check, check, flop, bet, turn is spades. And because we're holding 2 spades, that's bad for us to be calling with. Just some advice on if you were trying to be doing a decision there. And then you go, okay, well, what if you got blown off of a hand? I mean, there wasn't really any hand to get blown off of. He either has complete air or is beating us. And I mean, by complete air, he has to have something like exactly king, queen of spades. Pretty sure, right? Yeah, I mean, king, queen of spades, queen 10 of spades, king 9 of spades, queen 9 of spades. Those are all bluff candidates. The jack of spades is really a problem. That we're holding it. I think we made the right fold there. Because there's no pocket pairs that make that move either. They just take showdown. So much of the pocket, like we're beating pocket 10s, but that takes showdown. Queens take showdown, and I know that very rarely would it ever. I'm moving past the hand. I think it's a good fold. I don't care what anybody says. Play a hand. Take it to the streets with 10-7. No. We don't have anything. Ace-4 offsuit. What a trash hand. Now it's a lot better. Said I was going to start raising this guy, right? Remember that? Remember when I said that? Remember when I said I was going to lose a ton of chips to this dude? Oh, we turn open-ended. This is bad. I'm going to check call once. North of pots. Well, that's strange. I don't know what hand goes north of pot there. 8-9 sure as hell does not. $20 into 31. Now he goes way lower. What are you beating? Nothing. Hand was played wrong. Should have led river. Bad. Don't really want to play this hand like a call. Flop it open-ended. It's not bad. We definitely could potentially win a big pie here. Not the best turn card I've ever seen. Goes all in, huh? I mean, alright. Can't really do a lot of calling when you jam. Sometimes, you're going to turn sixes and so you get greedy. This guy took off, Jesus. I don't know what to do with that. I really like to get 3 streets out of this guy. I did not want a heart on the river. I don't think it matters much, but it's not what I wanted. Just sizing that a weak king might call. A curious one. Kind of like a side call. Fold's fine too. It's not what I'm looking for, but we need runner to a straight. We have 1 over. We have no flush draw. We're going to give this up a lot. Hand's good enough to raise, though we fold if it goes raise 3-bet, which I haven't seen yet. It's basically clicking him, I think. That's a problem. He still gets the fold. Still his wheelhouse. I don't like check calling. I think the bet's better than check call. Turn to gutter. Double gutter. 45 big blinds out there. I guess we can set up for like almost like a river jam if it's a decent. Okay. Do we just jam now? Check call. Does it matter? Got 54 bigs left. I think we just go it. Powerful. That dog will hunt. It doesn't take a really big bet for us to get a full here. Something like 2.5 bigs is fine. We do get a call. There's no draws, so we just fold. What do we call with a queen? Yes. That line doesn't make a lot of sense. So, whatever. But onwards and upwards, eh? So we're up like 80 bigs. It's not bad. I'm doing a fair amount of bluffing, semi-bluffing, things like that. You've seen some moves. I'm sorry in hand I can't articulate kind of what I'm thinking in real time, but I don't get a lot of time to articulate like what my real thought is. I just kind of say what I'm going to do. and there is thought behind it, but it's like, if I articulate it, I run out of time. I did it the other day. Actually, I didn't even post the video because I did it with aces. And, like, on the flop. Unlike an 8-high flop. It was ridiculous. Like, we could spike a 7 here and make, like, a ton. For this size, I am going to see if I can't peel. I do have more Jack X than he does here. And I'm more in that neighborhood. Yeah. So I have double block 7. 7-8 goes for some value. So I'm going to something like this. And he folds just ace highs, but calls with queen highs. Or 10. Or just a 10. I mean, sure. Also calls me with a 10. Which doesn't bother me. It just tells me that when I have value, he will pay me. Right? Second pair is good enough. Overs, backdoor, straight draw, kind of. Check. Check call. Like, we turned some equity with a lot of turns. That's a good one. I mean, we have a gutter now and 2 overs, so no reason, like, I think we could probably just bet. The pot's so small that betting never really is a big deal. The problem with where betting becomes an issue is where the pots get really big and you're trying to look at like SPR, stacked pot ratio, and you're going, what does bet do to my SPR? In this instance, where you're talking about the total amount of money being in the center being 2 bigs, it doesn't matter. Like, and that way, like, betting 1 big blind is still half pot, which is still fine and does nothing to you. You're so deep, right? What was he going to raise to, right? I bet 1 big blind, was he going to raise to 3? Which would be full pot, right? 4, 5. I mean, I probably would call those amounts with a gut shot, a straight draw, and 2 overs on that board. So it's like, you can't really get punished too often when the pot size is so small to just bet. And for all we know, we took it down against King High there. I mean, sometimes you just gotta sit here and fold. I've given you literally tons of examples where, I mean, in this session where we don't exactly have to have it to play poker. And we're not a maniac either. There's some logic. Let's go Jungle Man. You can see there's logic in math, and you can see it in what I'm doing. There's one guy who cannot articulate a strategy very well, for sure. One of the best to ever do it, but strategy-wise, articulating it is like madness to him. I don't understand anything he's saying. Fun fact, as far as bounty games go, I don't remember the last time I paid a bounty. Check, bet, call. Not big enough for bluff, because I'm terrible. Okay, that means nothing. I mean, we were playing full. He can literally have anything. He says there shows me a jack. It means nothing. I've said this like I said before. If you're going to show one, I actually think of you as an idiot. If you're going to show a bluff, show a bluff. If you're going to show one card and fold the other one, everyone from here to the moon knows that you have it. They have to all sheepish, show your second card, and they look all sheepish when they finally throw it over, and then it's actually the nuts, and you're like, or the effective nuts, and you're like, I've never seen it where someone showed one, and then fold the other one, and the other one was insignificant. Like, never. So, to the one guy out there that does do it, you are one of 100, maybe 1,000 that would ever do it. What we do like this, so this guy looks like he's going to get a little more aggressive against us, and I'm fine with that. If that's actually what his exploit is going to be, we don't mind it, because we are not afraid to call down when a spot needs it, or bluff when a spot needs it. So go ahead. Get aggressive with me. Get aggressive with everybody. Just kind of hoping that the rest of the chips don't go to some nit. So I told myself we were going to play 100 hands dealt, and I'm almost there. So we're going to stick around for all of 14 more hands. 14 more hands, a good stopping point is going to be the 100 hand mark. So let's shoot for that. This is an example of a 3-bet or fold. I would have opened that hand from that position, but it is not a 3-bet. We will open this hand. Well, the dynamics there were getting raised a lot more, so we probably could have folded it, but it's on the fence. 5 more big blinds. We're going to take the flop. Yeah, this guy's getting a little bit more aggressive. I'll take a flop. We more of our board than his. We don't have any diamonds or anything. Turn to king is fine. Now we just check call. Wow. I don't really know. I mean, I call because I don't know what he has. I mean, sure. That's a hand. Thank you, ACR. This is one of those instances where I'm just gonna blame ACR. Okay. Kind of strange. Well, King 9 is defend. We're certainly defending Ace 10. Also, we're gonna go for big though. So we got a cool card behind. It's 25. Let's go to what's half. I had to make that decision fast. That makes me a little bit happier. We're jamming all flops because he called. So we have 55 in there, and the stack pot ratio is just too small. 2 overs is good enough. He makes the call. Jack 10's going to get 15% to hit. It needs the jack, an 8. We win. Probably not solver approved. Alright, sorry. I was thinking about that last hand, and I just now woke up from it and realized we have an 8. So now I don't know what to do with the hand. I guess we just call. I don't know. I just woke up. I was like, wow, we bet this flop? Why did we not bet this flop? Like, blind versus blind versus blind. I want to see what he has for one big. An 8's good. We just chop it. Wow. I like sitting there thinking about the Ace 10 hand, like where it fits into my 4-betting frequency against overlimp, and I'm just like, check. Like that was like literally all that went through my mind on that specific hand. Check. Sure. We can check call a street here, like always, unless he goes something maddening. It's not a bad turn actually. We actually have the double gutter. So like right, don't we? No, it's just the jack that helps us. Doesn't matter. I mean, we also can be ahead a lot. A lot of his aces are gonna like barrel pre-flop, so I don't really expect this too often. I mean, would we ever bluff this? We can bluff it sometimes. We ever just check and see if he uses bluffs? So he doesn't bluff here. Oh, Should have. 5 high? Go for it, dude. Go for it. Wow. I have the king. Go for it. I would have liked it anyway. That's silly. If he calls and we were suited with Jack 8, we'd actually just call. But if he folds, I'm just going to fold this hand. Well, I'm going to fold it regardless, because even if he called, Jack 8 offsuit's not good enough. Queen's good for me. So, like, it's not one of the stronger queens that I would actually check back. I would take some stronger queens and I would check back. This is a weaker queen. And why would we do that? Because we're balanced in our checkbacks, if we do. But you could argue that we don't need to be at low stakes like this. We can just play pure exploit, pure c-bet 100. But the reason I like to do that is because we actually get more calls down the line. They can punish us more often when we are bluffing in that spot when the queen, whatever, 2 heart board, 3 high, what was it, deuce 3 or something. When that board comes out and they check raises, if they notice that we're c-betting too often, they can take something like a draw or any 2 hearts, like literally any 2 hearts, and they can raise us. And they're just going to get the fold right away from junk. They're going to get called from queen, and when they have better queens and they do it, we're hanging on. It's never a good scenario. I think that you don't need to really be that balanced online, or well, in low stakes live for sure, but because nobody's really catching on to that and like punishing you, because somebody will do it with like with really just anything. If they can literally just do it with anything, knowing that you can't hold on too much on the turn unless you have a queen. And how often are you just doing it with top pair? Well, if you're c-betting 100%, you're probably not doing it with top pair all that often. Like, it's the frequency of that is like 1 out of 8 that you actually have the queen. So they're just betting that 1 out of 8 times you don't have it, and then they just check raise you terribly. So, and then in the times that they do it and they have a queen, I mean, we could just own them if they have actually value that they do it with. Although I've seen them online where they just lead the queen a lot. Like if on that board they just donk, and it's like, okay, that's an option, I guess. We don't have too many turn cards here that we like. We don't have diamonds, so there's that. Are we ever betting here? 1 diamond hands we would. I will just say that. If we would have turned an 8 on the turn, we would have. I think that we're going to try to get like a king to fold. Like king, queen, king, jack, queen high, king high. Because he doesn't have very much ace-x, having not barreled the whole way. we're at 100 hands. We're out. It's been fun, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll play with you another time. We almost got a full double today, and hopefully we continue that streak. See ya.